In a quiet town in Virginia, nestled between old oak trees and memories of better days, sat Lincoln High, a school with chipped paint, outdated textbooks, and a principal who ran things like a courtroom. Principal Dalton. A man who valued silence over truth, control over compassion, and rules over reason. He ran the school like a business. Order first. Image second. Students last. But everything changed the day 16-year-old Amari Greene stood up and used his voice. Amari wasn't loud by nature. He wasn't the kind of kid who caused trouble or picked fights. He was thoughtful, observant, and always writing. Always carrying around a leather-bound notebook filled with poetry, protest quotes, and ideas, big ideas. He came from a single-parent household raised by his mom, Vanessa Greene, a nurse who worked double shifts just to keep the lights on. They didn't have much, but what they did have was dignity and courage. So when Amari walked into Lincoln High that Wednesday morning, wearing a black hoodie with the words, "Silence is betrayal" written across the back in white paint, he already knew someone was going to say something. He just didn't expect it to be everyone. First it was a whisper in the hallway. Then a double take from a teacher. Then a summons over the intercom, "Amari Greene. Report to the principal's office immediately." When he walked in, Principal Dalton didn't even look up. He just slid a slip across the desk. Suspension. 3 days. Insubordination, and inciting disruption. All for wearing a hoodie. Amari blinked. "Sir, I didn't break any rules." Dalton finally looked up, eyes sharp and cold. "You wore a message meant to provoke. You turned the school into a stage." Amari shook his head slowly. "Sir, I was silent. The message wasn't violent. It was a quote from Dr. King." Dalton's voice didn't rise, but it cut like glass. "Intent doesn't matter. Impact does. You've been warned before about pushing boundaries." Pushing boundaries? For quoting history? Amari left the office in silence. But inside, a storm had started. What Dalton didn't know was that the hoodie wasn't just about a quote. It was about something that had happened 2 weeks earlier. Something no one wanted to talk about. Lincoln High's janitor, Mr. Rowe, had been quietly let go. No warning. No explanation. Just gone. Mr. Rowe was kind. Gentle. The kind of man who gave out Jolly Ranchers to kids having a rough day. He'd worked there 22 years. Amari had seen it with his own eyes. An argument in the hallway. Raised voices. Mr. Rowe shaking his head. And the words, "I won't stay quiet about it." Then he was gone. No emails. No thank you. Just silence. And when Amari asked questions, teachers changed the subject. Students got nervous. And Principal Dalton said only one thing. "Stay out of it." But Amari couldn't. He knew something was wrong. So he spoke out. Posted a video on TikTok explaining what he knew. Asked people to share their stories. Used the hashtag justice for Mr. Rowe. It got 3,000 views overnight. Then 15,000. By Monday it was at 75,000, and counting. And that hoodie? It wasn't just fashion. It was protest. So when Amari got suspended, the school thought that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. Because the next day something wild happened. 30 other students came to school wearing black hoodies too. Same message. Silence is betrayal. By noon, 5 more were suspended. By 2 p.m., the front of the school was crowded, with parents. Angry. Confused. Demanding answers. Vanessa Greene showed up during her break, still in scrubs, fury in her voice. "You're punishing my son for caring? For asking questions." But Principal Dalton refused to budge. He stood by his decision. "I will not allow this school to become a political battleground." But by then, it already had. Because the story was spreading. Fast. Local news picked it up. Then regional. A reporter stopped Amari outside his house that evening. He was nervous, but calm. "They want us quiet," he said. "But silence helps no one." His mother stood behind him, hand on his shoulder. Then, Wednesday morning. Day 3 of the suspension. Amari stayed home. But Lincoln High was a scene. News vans. Posters. More students in black. And then, a black SUV pulled up. With tinted windows. And out stepped someone no one expected. Mayor Celeste Ford. The first black woman to ever hold office in their town. A woman known for walking into chaos and demanding justice. She didn't knock. She didn't wait. She walked straight into Principal Dalton's office and shut the door behind her. No one knows exactly what she said. But 20 minutes later, Dalton stepped out, pale. Tight-lipped. He called an assembly. Every student. Every teacher. He stood at the podium, stiff. "I've made a mistake." Gasp. Murmurs. I let procedure outweigh principle. I failed to hear the voices that matter most, yours. Then he looked toward the back of the gym. Because standing there was Amari. Mayor Ford had called his mother. Personally. Brought him back. He stood tall, hoodie still on, heart pounding. Dalton paused. I'm lifting all suspensions. Cheers. Applause. But the mayor wasn't done. She stepped forward, took the mic. There's more to this story, she said. And it needs to be told. Because what happened to Mr. Rowe was only the beginning. Rumors of misconduct. Of cover-ups. Of policies targeting staff and students of color. And she promised, we will investigate. But as Amari looked around the gym, something else caught his eye. A man in the back. Suit. Sunglasses. Watching. Not clapping. Not smiling. Just observing. Then he turned and walked out. And that's when Amari knew. This wasn't over. Not even close. Because what they thought was a protest was the start of a reckoning. Thank you for watching and liking our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe.